All right, good morning. I'm starting a little early, but it doesn't matter. Nobody watches anyway. My name's Frank. This is Premarket Wake Up. Eventually, this will grow into something organic. I want to build a small community of traders. Blah, blah, blah. Not going to sell anything. Just want to be a good trader, professional trader. That's it at the end. Community is called No More Paper Trading. Link is in the description if you happen to be watching this at a later time. Anyway, welcome. Let's start with checking out the news, and I'll get into the overnight moves in the equities and my thoughts on today going into the open. On the calendar, there's not much. A bunch of Fed speeches. I used to block these out and not trade during them until I kind of realized it's too unknown. So you're not going to get a volatility spike right at the time of the speech. You'll get it when a news organization puts out excerpts from the speeches, or sometime after the fact, or the chance is too random, and they have too many speeches. They just spend all the time talking about stuff. That's got to be one of the worst jobs. You really have to be interested in the government to want to do that. Anyway, that's all there is. The government's still shut down. They're making movements to reopen the government. But that could start next week. And we'll get some statistics coming back. I have a feeling that they're going to be bad. They're not going to be good when they do start coming back. I mean, unless there's leverage to make them good. I don't know. Right now, a lot of the narrative is the markets are up now because the hope that the government's coming back. I don't really buy that. The other narrative is earnings. That might be it. I think we're just getting the last, I don't know, the last coughs of the bull run. I'm still kind of bearish, but I need to check myself often. And with that, let's check the news. I'll check Yahoo and bar chart. Earnings whisper. Not a huge amount of great earnings this week. I don't know about next week. Let's check that first, see if we can even see that. Earnings for next week. I don't have a good method yet of looking that up. This is nice. Too bad it's October. Oh no, it starts October. Yeah, this is dated. We have Disney tonight. No, tomorrow morning maybe. Tonight we have Cisco. A couple others. Yeah, this is dated. I was hoping for the next one. Let's check this meme. It takes big balls to shorten video. We'll see. I've shorted Nvidia too. They've been lagging for the past year about. If you really wanted to get all the huge increases in Nvidia, that was starting in 2021. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get next week. I'll check it out later on my list. The only list I use for earnings is I gotta find one that's free. That I don't want to pay for one. I gotta find a way to sort the information that's free on TradingView. Well, I already pay for it on TradingView. But headlines. The AI craze is eclipsing other opportunities. Let's check that out. See, I didn't check out any headlines yet this morning. This is all new to me. Yesterday was a mix of positive and negative. It was quite strange. This is the takeaway from today's morning brief. For every mega AI deal that has rolled through, lifting investor hopes that the AI transition is here to stay, there is a revival of jitters, whether it's chatter of an asset bubble, impatience for AI-fueled returns, or fears of ill-considered investments. A robust earnings season has helped calm those worries, even as economic warning signs have started to pile up. Some observers have pointed to a broadening rally and the prospects of other sectors playing catch-up to the tech giants as reasons for optimism not directly tied to the fate of the AI trade. All right, so that's kind of the feeling I had, that the AI giants are either starting to lag or in a bit of a pause right now with their giant bull runs, and the rest of the market is catching up, which you would have saw that. When did that start? That rally start in the industrials? Now, granted, the Dow does include Nvidia and a few other tech giants, but right now the leaders in the Dow are not Nvidia. So that run up really started last Friday. And then Monday and Tuesday you saw the Dow outperform the NASDAQ and the S&P. So that's what they're talking about there. I don't really care about the rest of this. I'm still shorting CoreWeave. I took partial profits on that short. I'm very happy about that. So at least if I lose on Nvidia or AMD or Microsoft, I can at least hedge some of it with the CoreWeave. But this could just be the crack starting to show in the AI, where CoreWeave was the newest of the companies in the list of companies heavily related to AI. They were up there as far as evaluations, if you looked at a list. And they came out with better than expected earnings, and they're still crashing. I think that is the definition of a good sign. Let's check the other articles. Lawmakers eyes stock trading ban once shutdown ends. I don't see that going through. And yes, at the surface that might seem like a terrible thing, that lawmakers can trade stocks. But the alternative might be worse. So if you ban them from stock trading, it's kind of going to throw underhanded deals to the forefront. You're going to have them caring a lot more about special interest groups. And lobbyists. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't have an answer. But you can't, one of the major issues with a certain group of people is they seem to think, and I have family members that do the same thing, say the same thing. You know, if greed's the problem, just stomp greed out. Without completely realizing that everybody has greed. And it's not always bad. Greed is not always terrible. Everybody needs an incentive. No one's going to volunteer without an incentive. Even people that give their time for free at whatever, homeless shelters. There's an incentive behind it. It makes them feel good. And I might not understand the incentives behind being a politician, but at least if we know their incentive, if we know their incentive is to gain wealth, I think that's better than a hidden incentive, such as there are certain people that just want to see the world burn. So I don't know. I don't know if it's bad or good. Yes, it would be ideal to say, oh, if you want to hold power in this country, you have to be an ascetic. You have to give up all your wealth. I think then we would just end up with crazy people in government. Maybe not. I don't know. I am kind of in favor, though, of limiting the amount of time you can be a congressman. I don't think it should be very short, but you shouldn't be able to serve for life. I think an insane percentage of politicians sitting in Congress right now are barely ever there because they're too old. They're in hospice. I don't think that should be. There's something wrong there. All right, that's enough of that. Freight news, ocean rates tested by capacity conundrum. I'm not into that. Even when the shutdown ends, flight cancellations won't. I wonder how the big airliners are doing. Let's see if there's any info on that. No, I don't remember. American Airlines. Let me do a quick search. Okay, Delta Airlines. It's in my early trading days, it was one of my first successful trades. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just chance that I won. Delta Airlines not doing too terrible. So I don't know if the fact that some flights are still going to get canceled, if they care. United Airlines and Delta Airlines, their stocks almost match. All right, on to something else. AMD stock rises as investors cheer growth targets. And then right below it, it has AMD minus 2.65%. Something's wrong there. AMD says it expects to see its data center revenue increase 60% over the next 3 to 5 years, up from $16 billion in 2025, as the company pushes deeper into the AI space and works to steal share from rival Nvidia. AMD stock rose 5% before the bell on Wednesday following the news. That's not good for me. So their ticker there is a little delayed. I don't know. I don't see... Did they actually... I think I checked their earnings before. They're not impressive. So we have in August they had a reported earnings of, I'm guessing that's 480 million. No, because they only had a revenue of 270 million. I don't understand why when they put, maybe that's 48 million. Either way, that does not really translate to their valuation. And then their most recent earnings were, they doubled earnings. So I don't know what they're talking about right now, because they have large forecasts. And I think it's a little too early to say investors love this. Before the bell, that could change at the bell. We'll see. Overall revenue will jump 35% over the next 5 years. Hold on. Revenue. I'm not so sure I trust TradingView's numbers. TradingView in the most recent estimates has them, their total reported revenue, which is before it's before taxes, before expenses, everything, at 9.25 billion. This article says right here, overall revenue will jump 35% over the next 5 years from 34 billion in 2025. Unless they're combining. Yeah, okay, that must be it. They're combining all the earnings throughout the year. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. Analysts, however, have raised questions about how companies will be able to power their AI data centers and whether OpenAI will be able to pay for AMD's GPUs. I think recently I saw a video where OpenAI was basically asking the government for help. They're running out of money to slush around. Their improvements in their GPT are not scaling, despite building tons of data centers. At some point, there needs to be money generated from AI. And the backdrop to all that is right below here. We have, I'm not sure exactly what's being said, but it's saying more Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I know that's come out many times over the past years. They keep saying that and again and again and again and again. So I don't know. I'm not going to trust that right now. It's not just prices. Americans are anxious over jobs too. Yeah, but the last two jobs reports came out better than expected. Still bad, but better than expected. Voter frustration over affordability fueled Democrats' wins in last week's state and local elections. I don't know. I don't know if that's what fueled their wins. Some 55% of employed Americans say they're concerned about losing their jobs. I mean, that's not much of a... Everyone's concerned about losing their job at all times. I don't know. But yet companies continue to squeeze profits. I would have to get a good idea of everything. What were Walmart's recent profits? That's a pretty good barometer. Walmart has earnings coming up next week. But their recent ones were a surprise down. Their revenue was $177 billion for the quarter ending August. The one before that was about 10 billion less. 12 maybe, give or take. But they had more earnings, so. And yet they still rised. The price still rose after. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe the cracks will start to show on the 20th, which is next Thursday. What's another big one? Costco. I don't remember their... Oh yeah, there it is. Cost. Costco's down. They've been trending down since June. Ooh, let's see. There's another article. Goldman has been blowing the whistle, and I don't know. They did this last week too. Goldman strategists see U.S. stocks lagging all peers next decade. Next decade starting 2030? Goldman Sachs Group Incorporated strategists who correctly predicted Wall Street's underperformance this year. Predicted Wall Street's underperformance this year? What? How can you say we've underperformed this year? There's about 1 million articles that say we overperformed. Correctly predict. Great. Anyway, this turd expects U.S. equities to keep lagging for the next decade. Peter Oppenheimer and his team recommended that investors increase diversification beyond the U.S. as elevated stock valuations put a lid on gains. They expect the S&P 500 to achieve annual returns of 6.5% in the coming 10 years, the weakest among all regions. Emerging markets are projected to be strongest, 10.9% a year. Okay, what are the emerging markets? Who exactly are the emerging markets? After a decade of constantly superior performance driven by a surge in technology stocks and the craze for artificial intelligence, the S&P 500 has lagged behind global peers significantly this year. The benchmark has climbed 16% compared with 27% rally in the worldwide MSCI Incorporated Index. That excludes the US. Yeah, I don't know how much I believe that. Diversify beyond the US with a tilt toward emerging markets. Okay, who's considered in these emerging markets? And by the way, they're always too late. This is my 2 cents. They're realizing it now, but now it's going to start tipping. You're going to see emerging markets slip. And I don't see how they can put Japan here, despite, I forget what Japan is. Their debt level is 300% of their GDP. Something close to that. That's insane. All right. China and India, they're saying. I don't know. China's been flattening out for a while now. Let's see what comments say on this. Come on. Okay. I am no expert, just a person who has been investing for his own retirement the past 30 years. I hear this over and over and over. Overseas is where you should be investing. You need to diversify out of the US, etc. US falling, Asia rising, India, etc. Between the political risk, the foreign taxes you pay, the increased fees you pay on funds, FX and all the like, it is very difficult to beat the US. This person predicted underperformance this year. We are up nearly 20% VOO and higher on QQQ. Yet if people would have listened to him, they would have sold on the bottom. Be very careful of people saying general things. Are there opportunities outside of the US? Of course there are. I would say one of the best things to invest in are things you understand. And to me, Japan economics, for example, is not that. Betting against the US over the long term has rarely paid off. Speculation is dangerous. Yeah. I agree. Good comment. Similarly, Vanguard and others have been predicting a decade of low returns for U.S. stocks for many years now. Investors who listen to them have missed astounding returns. Exactly. Again, look at the incentives. I'm sure this person makes a lot of money diverting investors to overseas markets. That's probably their main job. All right, anything else today? Let's just see, 14 minutes ago they said, stock market today, Dow, S&P, NASDAQ futures rise as AI hopes swing back ahead of House shutdown vote. Yeah, I'm still not convinced. And at that, let's take a look at the evidence. Take a quick look at bar chart. I'm preparing for a bang when the NASDAQ crashes. Tesla just lost its Cybertruck leader. I would say it makes the company more valuable. He should have been fired when he invented that turd. Yeah. Right here's evidence that that guy's wrong. China's Singles Day online shopping bonanza sales slow as shoppers opt for more affordable deals. You can't. China has been trying for decades now to turn their citizens into Americans, and they just have failed on every front. The Chinese are not, I was going to say, not as stupid as Americans. That's not the right word. They're different. They're just different. They don't see a reason to buy and buy and buy. They want to save, because in their country things turn bad very quick. All right. Palantir achieved eye-popping growth and is a buy through year-end, according to Wedbush. I disagree, but okay. And so do investors. Let's check Palantir first. How about it? They're only up $1 in pre-market. Yesterday they bounced back, but I don't know. Moral of the story is if my stops hit, I get out of the trade. I can enter back in at any time. All right, let's take a look first. Staying on the same topic I was just on. Let's take a look at the SPY. I usually look at futures, but maybe we can shed some light on this so-called rally. I mean, there's pretty good evidence. Yeah, I don't know. So this day right here, Friday, that amount of volume scares me a little. But you are seeing, yeah, that volume definitely scares me. But this volume does not. Monday and Tuesday, you have decreasing volume already before we even get anywhere close to all-time highs. But it does scare me that Friday the volume was higher than, I mean, well, let's look at the tariff day on the 13th. That recovery there, which drove us to all-time new highs, it had quite a few days of rising volume before puttering out and then driving up to all-time new highs on middle levels of volume. I don't know. We'll see what happens today. Pre-market is way up. But we are not getting these insane levels of volume like we used to. I think the big players are playing it safe right now, waiting for a new catalyst. And I don't see AMD's news as catalyst. Luckily, I am hedged. Just in case. Alright, let's check out overnight moves, see if anything's significant, then I'm out of here for the day. I'm going to do this real quick. The ES broke through yesterday's high pretty early on in the night. Is now kind of stalling. That could be seen as either waiting for an open to bring in more volume to make a push towards the current month high. And a huge area of resistance up here. This is the daily chart. We'll see what happens when price hits there. My prediction is that we would not get above, my prediction from several days ago was that we weren't going to get above the top of this drop on Tuesday the 4th when we had that huge drop. We're well above that now. We'll see though. In Q, quite similar. Took a little bit longer to get above yesterday's high. Oops, I didn't switch back. Let's see if my button's working now again. Yeah, they do. NQ also lagging a bit right now. We'll see. Again, they could just be waiting for an open. The highest bit of volume in the overnight coming at 7 o'clock. But it was not able to drive it up to overcome the high, the overnight high. We'll see. Let's check. Nvidia is still down right now. Apple's up, Microsoft's up a little. See, I don't know if this is pre-market or if this is from yesterday. I'm not going to trust this right now. They need better watch lists. The Russell lagged a little bit in the beginning of the night before overcoming the close. And then yesterday's high. Now stuck right there again. I'm going to grab a trade right here. Damn it. Come on. No, I'm going to buy more than 6. Just a quick little scalp. I should stop really. Maybe I should move to the RTY. The commissions kind of kill you on this for scalping. I'm gonna move below this level right here. All right, I'll let that go. Dow trending higher again after an insane performance yesterday. On the Dow, we're pushing towards all-time new highs, at least in futures market. Yeah, that would be all-time new highs, I'm pretty sure. We'll see what happens. This could be what breaks the rest of the market if the Dow does not maintain at this level. If it rejects the all-time highs, that could signal the rest of the equities to pull back significantly. I think I was a bit early on my trades. I don't know. I go back and forth all day. I have to remind myself I'm hedged and I have stops. Gold. Let's take a look at gold. Gold in the overnight rising after a actually no, never mind. Gold back and forth in the overnight after a back and forth day yesterday. This isn't right. These aren't the right levels. What the heck? It only filled one? That's rare. Fill the rest, damn it. Do a market. Something's messed up there. Anyway, yeah, I should move to... Now it's going to rise all the way up here, but maybe not. We are getting kind of weak in strength. Yeah, I should move to either RTY, only trade the Russell longer term. By longer term, I mean 10-20 minutes rather than 10-20 seconds. All right, back to gold. Anyway, yeah, these numbers are wrong. That's not yesterday's close. Huh, that's what they're saying settlement is. How? I wonder if that's an error. Maybe that's why it fell back to this level in the overnight. Well, why would they say that's settlement? Just so you know, I'm not lying. Right there is yesterday's, and the close they have is 4116.3. Am I missing something? Let me look it up on CME quick. Or not, gold's not CME. Is it CME? It's part of the umbrella, I think. Micro gold futures. Internet is very slow. Settlements. I'm on the December contract. 4116.3. I don't understand that. I don't know who to ask. AI is not going to know the answer to that one. Whatever. I'll have to figure it out some other time. Let's check days, earlier days. So on 11/10, the settlement was 4122. That's really close. I know different calculations go into it, but it's usually around 16:15 is when they declare settlement. And it's usually very close to that closing candle. I might be better off using closing candle time. I'll have to check which one prices respect more. Or just ignore gold. All right, Friday. 4009.8. Again, that's really close. I don't understand. I don't know if this is a mistake or because I think we're nearing the end of the contract. Maybe not. Yeah, not really. 11:24 is the roll. Oil rolled already. I should have caught that, but I didn't. Oil. Did it oil roll yet? Certainly seems like it is. Let's just ignore that for now. By the way, oil is falling quite a lot in the overnight. The reason why I thought the contract switched because there's very low volume at the open overnight. But apparently we are not yet switched. Alright, that's all. That's all I got, really. Oh, let's check out Bitcoin. Bitcoin recovered quite a bit overnight. But it's stuck right here right now. It's been stuck there since 4 a.m. We'll see what happens. And last, let's check the VIX. Flat. It's been flat, stuck at 19.11 for quite a while now. But you see this. RSI is slowly tilting up, as well as the backwardation. I tried to adjust for contract change. I don't know if I have to fix my indicator. We'll see. We'll see if this is a correct gauge for when and if they start moving towards each other. And to round things off for the end of today, let's take a look at FedWatch tool. A little bit lower than yesterday, but higher than last week. Some people will be paying attention to what the Fed say, but I think a lot of attention is being paid to, I don't know, today might be a muted day. We'll see. All right, that's it. That's all I got. Goodbye. Good luck. I will not be here tomorrow. Friday, I hope to be. We'll see.